A room without books is like a body without a soul. In times of war, the law falls silent. While there's life, there's hope. A friend is a second self. The life of the dead is set in the memory of the living. Politicians are not born, they are excreted. The shifts of fortune test the reliability of friends. I criticize by creation, not by finding fault. We must not say every mistake is a foolish one. It is a great thing to know your vices. Life is nothing without friendship. The higher we are placed, the more humbly we should walk. If we are not ashamed to think it, we should not be ashamed to say it. Live as brave men, and if fortune is adverse, front its blows with brave hearts. A happy life consists in tranquility of mind. Glory follows virtue as if it were its shadow. The good of the people is the greatest law. The face is a picture of the mind with the eyes as its interpreter. If we are not ashamed to think it, we should not be ashamed to say it. It is foolish to tear one's hair in grief, as though sorrow would be made less by baldness. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. The authority of those who teach is often an obstacle to those who want to learn. If you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. Your enemies can kill you, but only your friends can hurt you. Friendship improves happiness, and abates misery, by doubling our joys, and dividing our grief. The greater the difficulty, the greater the glory. Times are bad. Children no longer obey their parents, and everyone is writing a book. To be ignorant of what occurred before you were born is to remain always a child. For what is the worth of human life, unless it is woven into the life of our ancestors by the records of history? Freedom is participation in power. Poor is the nation that has no heroes, but poorer still is the nation that having heroes, fails to remember and honor them. The function of wisdom is to discriminate between good and evil. Any man can make mistakes, but only an idiot persists in his error. Where is there dignity unless there is honesty? Never injure a friend, even in jest. To be content with what we possess is the greatest and most secure of riches. We must not only obtain wisdom, we must enjoy her. It is our own evil thoughts which madden us. Freedom is a possession of inestimable value. To teach is a necessity, to please is a sweetness, to persuade is a victory. Dogs wait for us faithfully. Honor is the reward of virtue. Cultivation of the mind is as necessary as food to the body. Trust no one unless you have eaten much salt with him. Kindness is stronger than fear. A man of faith is also full of courage. The welfare of the people is the highest law. Every man can tell how many goats or sheep he possesses, but not how many friends. Silence is one of the great arts of conversation. The reward of friendship is friendship itself. No power on earth, if it labors beneath the burden of fear, can possibly be strong enough to survive. Wisdom is the only thing which can banish sorrow from the breast. The fruit of too much liberty is slavery. The good life is impossible without a good state, and there is no greater blessing than a well-ordered state. Be, rather than seem. As laws multiply, injustice increases. The life of the dead is placed in the memory of the living. Love is the attempt to form a friendship inspired by beauty. What then is freedom? The power to live as one wishes. He only employs his passion who can make no use of his reason. Nothing is so strongly fortified that it cannot be taken by money. Great is our admiration of the orator who speaks with fluency and discretion. In a disordered mind, as in a disordered body, soundness of health is impossible. I never admire another's fortune so much that I became dissatisfied with my own. Great is the power of habit. It teaches us to bear fatigue and to despise wounds and pain. Fear is not a lasting teacher of duty. Next to God we are nothing. To God we are everything. Before beginning, plan carefully. Hatred is inveterate anger. The pursuit, even of the best things, ought to be calm and tranquil. When anger rises, think of the consequences. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. While seeking revenge, dig 2 graves, one for yourself. Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. Whatever is begun in anger ends in shame. When angry, count to 10 before you speak. If very angry, count to 100. When angry, count to 10 before you speak. If very angry, count to 100. We forget our pleasures, we remember our sufferings. A tear dries quickly when it is shed for troubles of others. The best interpreter of the law